Whoopi Goldberg because I got so many texts this week because she attacked me the week before.
Sure.
So everybody was like, oh, Bill, I get you're enjoying the karma. First of all, I'm going to talk about this at the end of my show next week, teaser. But there is no fucking thing as karma, okay? Get over that. Whoopi attacks me on a regular basis. She says stupid shit on a regular basis. They just happen to coincide. But can I just say this? I had on last week Ira Glasser, former longtime head of the ACLU, talking about free speech. Whoopi Goldberg, who, by the way, I hope is still a friend. We can disagree with each other. Should not be canceled.
Well, if he's right, then why didn't people vote for the former prosecutor who actually had policy plans to help the
I'm saying that Whoopi Goldberg getting yanked from The View right after she attacked me on The View is karma. There's no such thing as karma. Sorry. Sorry, but life is random. The only word to describe it when a big game hunter gets trampled by an elephant and then eaten by lions is hilarious.
Picture this, folks. Two comedic heavyweights, Bill Maher and Whoopi Goldberg, squaring off in the public arena. It's a clash of titans, a battle of wits. Well, you get the idea. Maher, the sardonic, often controversial host of HBO's Real Time, known for his sharp tongue and even sharper takes on politics and culture.
We have got to get past this endless, unforgiving, zero-tolerance mindset bent on punishing and disappearing anyone caught saying the wrong thing. The right response to speech you don't like is more speech.
Goldberg, the equally outspoken moderator of The View, a woman who doesn't shy away from a good debate, particularly when it comes to social justice. These two aren't strangers to a good dust-up. They've sparred before, their comedic styles and political leanings often putting them on opposite sides of an issue. But this time, something felt different, more intense. The stakes seemed higher, the rhetoric more pointed, the laughter tinged with a hint of genuine frustration. This wasn't just a friendly disagreement between colleagues, it was a microcosm of a much larger cultural clash playing out across America. This wasn't about punchlines. It was about principles. It was about the very language we use to discuss race, class, and privilege in a nation grappling with its own deeply ingrained divisions. It all started, as these things often do, with a seemingly innocuous comment that quickly spiraled out of control.
Black people can't afford to indulge rich white people's need to endlessly flagellate themselves. They just want prices to go down and good jobs and the police when you call them.
Whoopi Goldberg, during a heated discussion on The View about the upcoming election, made a remark about the motivations of certain voters.
Well, if he's right, then why didn't people vote for the former prosecutor who actually had policy plans to help the working class?
It was a remark that, while not explicitly naming names, seemed to imply that some people were driven to the polls by less than savory impulses or questionable reasons. Now, Goldberg is no stranger to making bold statements that stir the pot. It's part of her charm, her ability to cut through the noise and get to the heart of an issue with clarity. But this time, her words landed differently and caused a stir. They struck a nerve, particularly among those who felt unfairly painted with a broad brush and misunderstood. The internet, being the internet, erupted. Accusations of bias flew from all corners. Commentators weighed in, some defending Goldberg's right to speak her mind, others decrying her perceived insensitivity and lack of tact. It was a classic social media firestorm, full of heat, but short on light, as these things often are. And then, into the fray stepped Bill Maher, ready to add his voice to the conversation.
Let's tear down statues of Lincoln and get rid of the police. Just, no. It's not that I've gotten old, it's that your ideas are stupid.
Maher, never one to let a good controversy go to waste, seized upon Goldberg's comments as a prime example of what he sees as the hypocrisy of woke culture. This, he argued, was a culture obsessed with virtue signaling and public shaming, more interested in appearing righteous than engaging in meaningful dialogue. He accused Goldberg and others of falling prey to a kind of ideological purity test.
It's valid because, Democrats stand on this moral high ground all the time and, they act so self-righteous. The reality is he didn't have to say anything in regards to, whether or not, his son wanted to be pardoned. He could have said, hey, man, I'm not focused on that right now.
One that allowed no room for nuance or dissent. To Maher, this was not about genuine empathy or understanding. It was about scoring points, about wielding moral superiority as a weapon. And he wasn't just talking about Goldberg. he broadened his critique to encompass what he saw as a larger trend, a kind of intellectual intolerance that had infected everything from college campuses to Hollywood writers' rooms. This, he argued, was the real danger, the stifling of debate, the silencing of dissenting voices, all in the name of so-called progress. To illustrate his point, Maher brought up a name that was guaranteed to inflame passions: Hunter Biden, son of the then president. Biden, who had been the subject of much scrutiny and controversy, became Maher's case study in the hypocrisy of the woke left. How, Maher asked, could those who claim to champion the downtrodden and hold the powerful accountable turn a blind eye to the allegations against Biden? Was it because of his family name? Was it because criticizing him would be politically inconvenient? The implication was clear. Woke ideology, Maher argued, was often applied selectively, a tool to be wielded against one's opponents while conveniently ignored when it came to one's allies. This, he suggested, was the heart of the problem: a lack of intellectual consistency, a willingness to abandon principles when expedient.